Okay, Google. Make coffee.
The cafe is open. Time to get to work. 8-6 Gaming.
When we think of nice mice and nice peripheral devices, sometimes we're thinking of things like this. Or sometimes we're thinking of things like this. Corsair, Razer, Logitech, these are what comes to mind, but they're not always the most affordable options. But with so much bloat out there, it's easy to come across things that are garbage, that just aren't what they say they are, and don't live up to any expectations whatsoever, and are loaded down with a bunch of crap and lies to sell to people. But there are some really promising budget companies out there that have a lot to offer and can go a long way and will make you pretty happy. One of these companies is this one, and I'm not really sure how to say their name, so we're going to call them AG from here on out.
So this probably isn't the G502 you might be thinking of. You know, this one. This is the Proteus G502 by Logitech. That makes sense. This is AG's G502, and this mouse is pretty neat for, you know, under 20 bucks. Well, right at $20. It's a modular RGB budget gaming mouse that has some setbacks, but for the most part, it's got a lot of nice little features that kind of make up for the difference there. And especially for the price at $20, I mean, it's pretty awesome and pretty on point. I can't give it some glowing commendation because I just don't think it deserves it, but it is pretty awesome. We have several modular attachments and some different feels to go with it, from wing attachments to non-wing attachments, to a ring finger rest on one side, to a flat smooth surface side as well if you didn't want that extra groove there. A lot of people with bigger hands will like that groove. They attach via clips and small magnetic locks. There's 3 on one side and 2 on the other side, so you can't mix up the sides, as well as it's like a puzzle. You can't force a puzzle together the wrong way. The mouse isn't glossy, but it will leave some smudging, I have noticed. It's really kind of hard to show in the video here, but after eating some pizza and touching the mouse, well, that could go for any mouse, I guess. You'll see a little bit of smudging on it. The scroll wheel is mildly low set, almost a little bit too much for me, but I do appreciate its tactile feedback. I think that the scroll wheel on this is really nice. It's got a smooth surface, it's got nice incremental steps, and it just clicks well. If you do a side bump with it, it works well. The DPI switches are a little bit tough to actuate, but that's not a big deal breaker, as most people don't even bother changing DPIs. But if you're somebody that swamps between DPIs, you may have to notice that you put a little more force in order to change the DPI. We do have the USB cable. It's braided and it offers somewhat of that gimmicky gold-plated USB connection. People would say that, you know, gold is more conductive, but who's to say this is even really gold? It just looks gold. The mouse uses the unchained Avago 3050 sensor. What I mean by that is the Avago 3050 sensor is native at 4000, but a lot of companies, because of problems it had at 4000 DPI, would kind of limit its ability to about 2800 to 3200 or even less than that. I've had no problems whatsoever on this one, and the A3050 is a real gaming sensor. It's a pretty budget-oriented entry-level gaming sensor, but it is a budget sensor. I am ambidextrous. I claw and palm grip, just depends on the game. You know, whatever you play as, I think that this mouse is actually a pretty good size and a pretty nice comfort either way. Each modular attachment weighs 5 grams. The mouse itself weighs 105 grams. So you have a total of 110 grams. From the heaviest attachment to the lightest attachment, they're all 5 grams. 110 grams is the weight of the mouse with attachments on. If you play without attachments, I don't know why you would, but you know, pick something and put something on there. And essentially your mouse is going to weigh 110 grams total. And that's not counting the USB cable. Lift-off distance is not bad. The fact that it stays relatively in the same area is a great indicator of this. If it moved around on the screen a lot, like it reset itself different places on the monitor or slowly went different directions instead of coming back to the same location, I would say you have a problem with lift-off distance. It's a little bit jittery, but it's not bad. It's the 3050 sensor. What do you expect? Let's talk about some of the lighting features this mouse has to offer. For about $20, there are some real pros, but definitely some cons in regards to customization. There are a bunch of decent and just okay lighting features on this mouse. As you can see, we're kind of going through some of them here. I don't do all of them, but I'll kind of show you some of them here. In the top corner, you should see the UI, and you should see the mouse kind of going through some of the different light features. It's not 100% without bugs. For instance, if I'm trying to change the actual light on the scroll wheel and the back of the mouse, in order to change it, I also have to change a feature on the mouse itself. I'm having a hard time just changing that without also changing the actual lighting effect. It's pretty straightforward and intuitive. The whole software setup is nice, from changing DPI to changing your polling rates to doing different things like that. It's pretty straightforward. It doesn't offer you a lot of over-the-top things for tuning. There is macro editing. There's some just nice features in there that is well encompassing to this budget peripheral device. And I think that that's great because you don't see that a lot in a lot of these more inexpensive mice that are out there on the market. So it shows that they went that extra mile to kind of give you something a little bit better than what you probably thought you maybe deserved for $20. I think that says a lot about this company. So the lighting features are pretty great. You can see that there's a bunch of different things you can do, and while some of them I would say are probably unusably bad, they're not ones that I would use anyways, but you may be different. You may have wished, oh, I wish that this flicker strobe seizure mode worked a little bit better, but it doesn't. It kind of looks choppy, and there's some definite bright spots inside of the lighting that kind of make it look a little more on the cheap side. Something I wish they would do different is change it so that not only could you use the side lights to illustrate your RGB aesthetic to match your setup, I wish you could also do that with the scroll wheel and the back of the mouse. I thought that that would have gone a long way to be able to tie it all in together and make it one thing, not force you to have a breathing single color option for the scroll wheel and the back logo of the mouse. The switches are likely going to be Omron switches, probably an earlier variant of it, somewhere between 15 and 20 million clicks. There's great depression to actuation, and that they're very nice to just click. They just are responsive. Now the same can't be said again about the top DPI up and down switches and the forward and back buttons on the side. They're a little tougher on depression to actuation, and while that's not a deal breaker for this price range, I would like to see that improved as well. Anyways guys, for about 20 bucks you get a UI controlled RGB mouse with some minor setbacks in some of the way that it looks, like the back logo and the scroll wheel itself, but for the most part at the end of the day, pretty awesome little mouse. I'd like to see this company keep going up. They have a keyboard out too, and I was thinking about trying it, but it just very similarly looks like other OEM models I've seen before, so I don't expect much different from it. But I'll look into that a little bit more and take a look at it possibly in the not so distant future. Anyways guys, have a great day, night, whatever it is. I'll see you in the next video that I do. It comes in at a weight. I don't have a weight yet.